you know, when I know I got an appointment, I'm going to, curiosity kills me. I probably end up going by the thing. Or looking at it on Google Earth or something. All right, look, your service cable's good. Looks like you got a chimney cap. The next thing you got to look at, is whether this is pulling away from the house or not. Because if this is, that's another $4,000 or $5,000. Because this has to be taken out, and you have to go with a direct vent system. That's a newer system. That's the best way to do it. Does everybody know what a direct vent heater is?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. All these windows are wood. That's.
They're not your standard size either.
Yeah. Well, that was the next thing out of my mouth. You're talking. Their cost is at least $400 a window. Ours is probably about $280. So you're writing their cost, not your cost. All right. I don't know if this will open or not. Yeah.
Heather, do we have a key for this by chance?
I can check one.
I think it might look better when it's done. Is she getting a key?
She's looking to see if it came with the other keys.
That's pretty cool. There's an opener. Maybe it's inside.
There's a shed in the back here if you want to look at that in the meantime.
You got a key, Heather? Or no? Got it?
Here's your direct vent system, guys, in case you don't know.
Oh, there already is one. Okay, good. Oh, shit, look at that fucking
Wire tie works.
I need that thing.
Yeah.
For a case.
Hey, Karen.
Now, at this point, I'm going to go in the house. You'll be back outside with them.
They work?
Yes. Did they grab my flashlight?
No, I'll just use my phone.
It's not a...
Hit the garage door opener.
Let me do the front.
All right, let's fool my plan a little bit. Most garages, they take zero care of. Most of the time, they're infiltrated by termites. So if they are, it's usually right above the sill plate there. And this is actually off the ground, which is pretty amazing. So this garage is actually pretty tight. And somebody did some work to it. That's the stabilizer. It's probably wonky. So, okay. Not too bad. All right, let's move the front door. While you're going up to the door, look around. If there's a house that's shitty, point it out. See underneath here, this is all wood. This is all beat. All these fascia boards are beat. You got to redo all these before you even cap it and side it. Now siding is $100 a square. Does everybody know how to measure a house for siding?
Go to the side door and see if that
Do you?
works for the side door only.
If it was a typical rancher, if it's 40 foot long and 10 foot high, that's 4 square for the front. And it's 4 square for the back. And it's 1.5 square for the other sides. Okay? So you're looking at their cost, probably $400 a square. That's about right.
Yeah, it's 10 times not, yeah.
Yeah. Their cost is $400 a square. You've got to write it down at their cost. My cost is $100 a box times 180. That's what I pay for siding. Roofing, same thing. Most houses, this house is probably 12 to 14 square. Okay, go look at a YouTube video on how to measure a roof. The pitch, the 512 pitch versus a normal pitch, that makes a difference. And it also makes a difference in roofers how much they're going to charge you, because they got to put one of those things that you put your foot on, whatever the hell they're called.
Scaffold?
What's the thing that they stick on the roof? Whatever that is. But if they got a real high pitch, they're going to charge you more. Roofing.
They're going to get rid of all these bushes, too.
12 square, 2,200. 12 times 10. The last last roof I just did was 12 square. Okay. It's $200 a square for goods for a roof. I get 200 a square. So if it's a 12 square roof, you're talking 2,400. Now I get it for $80 a square. I get it installed. They're going to be paying 150, but that's their cost. Okay. Ah, this has all got to go.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm imagining there's a seller. You can show me. And she knows I'm coming. And let's say the door's shut. And I say this all the time. I ring the bell.
Hey, I
This
got a
place is a
question.
piece
Paul,
of shit.
Now that little bit out of the concrete, is that going to be, is that a huge deal?
Nah,
or?
that's not.
All right.
All right, I ring the bell, right? I'm going to go down to the last syllable of this. I don't fucking stand there like that. You don't do that. It intimidates people. You stand off to the side. When they open the door, then you face them full frontal. Not before. I mean, especially like little old ladies. It intimidates them. All right? And is Bob my seller? Bob, you in there?
No, it's right.
Oh, aren't you my seller?
Am I?
All right, you know what, Joe? Joe's got to be the seller. He knows. He's been through this about 5
I want
times.
to learn a little more.
Okay. Get in there, you little bastard.
He's going to give you a hard time.
All right. Ring, ring. We already went through that part. Okay. All right, let me in. You want to sell this piece of shit or what?
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm Paul. Paul Allamby. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
You are?
Tony Bagados?
Oh, Tony. Nice to meet you.
Good. Please come in.
Thanks for having me over today. Now, I want everybody to pay a lot of attention to what I'm about to say. Does everybody or anybody know what the safe island technique is? Anyone? That's enough.
Sorry, what was it?
The safe island technique. What I am doing is I'm going to come in, I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to take her out on a safe island. I'm going to tell her what I'm going to do. Tony, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around, take a look at your house, we'll point out some positives and negatives, and I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to go back and sit at the table, and then you're going to decide if you want to sell this house to me today or not. I already got that. I already got that in her mind. Okay?
Were you looking away on purpose?
No, I was just thinking. I would be looking at
You
them.
were looking at them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm staring them down, and then there's a whole thing with eye contact. I can get into that later, but some, not all. You don't just death stare them. Okay. Now, the next thing you got to do is build rapport as fast as you can. Certain will be things on the walls, a deer head, a Phillies thing, whatever. Get totally off the subject of houses as fast as you can. If they're kids, oh, how many kids do you got? Everybody cares about themselves, and they only want to talk about themselves. That's why you got 2 ears, 1 mouth. As fast as you can, and as much as you can, build rapport. And as you're going along, you're talking about the house. Oh, let's just imagine they got wallpaper. We got wallpaper, huh? Oh yeah, I got it back in the 70s.
Well, we lived here for a long time, and my husband liked that, and my wife, my wife liked that so much.
Just imagine yourself as a little kid.
I felt a little feminine there.
It's only me.
And then we had, our Christmas tree looked really good over there. The couches came in.
Mm-hmm.
The grandkids, they love this room, nice and big.
Hey, I appreciate all that. And block wallpaper used to be the thing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's really out of style. Do you yourself see anybody? You see trucks drive around putting wallpaper in people's houses?
Nah, you're absolutely correct. I mean, it's old fashioned, but
It's what you like.
right, it's what I like to do.
This is about them. You got to be very careful. Like this looks like shit.
Right.
Very careful with that. That's a very personal thing to somebody.
Yep.
But what you have to say is, we're not going to be able to take this off. We've tried it before. Believe me, I have. We tried wetting it down. We tried scraping it. The entire house is going to have to be re-drywall, and we're going to have to pull out every electrical socket a few inches. That means we have to have all new trim. This is a cost that most rehabbers don't know. That is very, very expensive. Now, once again, I pay $1 a foot for trim. House, a standard house, probably about 1,700 foot. That's around every door and every window. Now, you can at least double that as it relates to your normal homeowner. They're gonna pay you at least $2 a foot. So I think the goods are 88 cents a foot, something like that, if you get a Pro Pack at Home Depot. We can talk about that kind of pricing later, but that's gonna be $2 a foot. And then you say it casually, say, oh, this is all gotta be re-rocked. And a standard rancher of 1,000 square foot is 77 sheets. And that's gonna be about $35 a sheet. Do the math on that.
Say that again?
77 square foot and a 960 square foot rancher. These are figures you've got to know cold. You've got to know them cold. Because you'll have confidence when you know them cold.
$35 a sheet is cheap, including the sheetrock?
They're paying 50.
Oh yeah, they're paying more. They're paying more.
They're paying
You're
50.
more
I'm
than
paying 35.
But they're gonna pay way more than 35.
Say that again.
77 sheets, $35 a sheet. You make it, you might as well make it 50.
It's like 2,400.
50 times 77 is $3,850.
Okay, that makes absolute sense because Joe and I just did one that was double that size and it's like 7,200. Okay, now that's my cost. You got to add 15 bucks a sheet to that, or at least 10. Let's call it 10. Call it 10. They may not even be aware of any of this. You're educating them. They're probably not aware of
I actually tell people that. I want to show you things you probably don't even see.
this. You're already. We spent, what did we spend? 10, 15 minutes, and I haven't even gotten through the house yet, right?
Right.
Now, Joe and I differ very greatly on our styles. My style is extremely, extremely methodical. Every last word is designed to go somewhere. We just go into the kitchen table, get it signed, and leave. Okay, so, that's something you've got to profess to them. Hey, and again, 1,700 square foot of trim at $1 a foot for installation. You would just say, I'm telling you right now, just say $3 a foot would be their cost, goods and labor.
Now, when you say trim for that price, now this has crown molding, trim at the bottom,
Don't
trim
even worry
at the
about
door.
crown molding.
So you're just
1,700
going
a
for
foot.
base
Yeah,
and doorways, you take the square footage of the house and just
Yep.
multiply it times.
Yep. Okay. Well, this is weird, isn't it? Weird, right?
Now these are doors we always like. The Milan doors.
Have you ever watched HGTV, Tony? Every one of these doors, we rehab this house, we're gonna have to put new knobs, and we're gonna have to get at least, in this neighborhood, I like a 2-panel door. Okay? So, if you've got 12 doors in this house, you're talking, now my cost would be about $1,200. They're probably, I would say to be conservative, say $1,500. And you're writing it down. You're casually writing it down, but you're making the notes to yourself like, hey, when I bring this back to Paul and Joe, and then they come in here and do the real cost, that's a big factor. Kitchens are where almost everybody thinks more. Off the top of your head, how much does a kitchen cost? Somebody say a number.
10.
20.
Bingo, 10,000. Everybody thinks it's 10. We pay 7, and that's for everything. The cabinets are about $2,100. I pay $40 a box to put them in, $20 a box to take them out. And the flooring, tile-wise, that's probably about $1,500 for a kitchen like this, and the appliances are $1,200, and the granite's about $1,400. And I don't buy refrigerators except in a higher price range. So, if you're casual, you're in the kitchen, we need a whole new kitchen, don't we?
Yeah, it looks like we do. I let it go.
What did I do there?
Don't we let them into it?
I closed them. I got them saying yes. What I said, I didn't say originally when I was at the door. When I was doing this a lot more, I would even go so far as say, "It's a nice day today, isn't it, Tony?"
It is a beautiful day.
Lots of yeses.
That's an agreement. They're with you.
Ken
This
shaking
is
her
not
head.
combative. We're going to get on the same team. And
Beautiful
remember,
floors, Tony.
hey, you know what? That's a bonus. That we could probably do something with that. And all you're telling them is the truth. That's a good thing. And that is a good thing for them. They're like, oh, okay, because now they're ticking stuff down in their head while you're ticking it up. But you're getting them where they gotta go. All right, so after the kitchen,
So my door nice? Would you
actually,
love that?
you know what? That is a nice door.
Thank you.
And I think we can do something with that. Ah, but your windows, oh my golly.
I know, I've been
You're
telling,
lazy.
yeah, I've been telling my wife we gotta get new ones.
You don't have little kids coming in here eating this stuff, do you?
Well, we have one little kids like his.
How many eyes does he have now?
One big.
Okay, great. All right, well, I would stop him from doing that. Now, let's just play along with me. You don't live here right now, do you?
No, I don't.
Do you know, just FYI, what does your insurance say? Does your insurance say you live here as an owner occupant?
No, I haven't done that. It's been about a year and I still haven't done it yet.
Well, whether we do something today or not, hopefully we will. But I have to tell you, for your own good, if there's nobody living here and there's a loss, you're not going to get paid.
Hmm,
Do you know how they find out?
how?
They look at the utility bills.
Oh.
Seems like you just found that out for the first time, didn't you?
The
That
neighbors,
was really good acting.
yeah, the neighbors tell you. They'll let, if your mail's not coming here.
That's one of the ways you get caught. Oh God, I better. And you know what? Your insurance doubles. What's your insurance here? $900 a year.
It's right. It's right on the button. Yeah, $900.
As soon as I leave here today, call your agent. Do this for your own good.
Okay.
If you have a loss here, you're in bad shape.
What do you think it might be if I, if I tell them it's vacant? What's it gonna look? You think?
Oh, it'll be double. I would go with a high deductible though. Go with as high a deductible as you can. Because
They're gonna ask you that too.
yeah, you got to know that. You've got to know that. But now they're like, holy shit, I never even knew that.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times that people are like, oh my God. Now they're even, more or less motivated to do something. Are there more?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's totally by design. Okay.
Please come this way. What they do?
Ah, jeez. You know, see these seams?
You like the color?
I do. I do. Reminds me of The Price is Right from the 70s. But, these seams, people are going to see
That's a
that.
good one. The price is right.
That's a play on word. Wow, this is like you go through a room to get to a room here. Oh, but Johnny and Jimmy always lived here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first Jack and Jill thing. Kitchen and bedroom. Yeah. Let me turn this light on for you.
That's the only way through here, right? It's the first time I've ever been there.
Oh, yeah, that's it. You're done.
And
This
you,
should be your dining area.
okay.
Yeah, it's a two-bedroom house.
All right, right now, I literally don't know what to say about it. I'm going to figure out a way to chisel her. I just haven't figured it out yet. Just so you're playing along in my head here. Okay. Oh, wow, this is interesting. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
But my grandkids, they love this room.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
I don't know, we might be able to do something with this. Okay. Oh, your floors are good though, definitely. Floors are
Good.
Okay. Now, I haven't even begun, because we haven't gotten to the basement yet, I just want everybody to know that. Oh, it looks like you did the bathroom back in the year, early 90s?
Yeah, late 80s.
Oh, master. Those curtains.
You need to put those newfangled things in there.
One thing, just from a cost standpoint, I want everybody to be aware of, in almost every case, I do what I can to endeavor to save the tub for a lot of reasons. Chief of which, this plumbing usually becomes expensive, and I usually paint the tubs. It costs me in-house about $200. Now let's just imagine this was a blue tub. Tile-wise, we usually tile the floors with the same thing. Now this is sort of passable. It's probably the only time they ever had extra money when the kids moved out, so they did this. It's exactly what my parents did. But it really doesn't work today. You've got to convince them that this is not current. Whatever way you have to. All right, and once again, you're mentally counting up the doors. So this is really a two-bedroom, right?
Yeah.
This is really,
Two-bedroom home.
right about this time. Okay, now I figured out, I was just bullshitting, but I'm thinking about this whole bedroom thing. Now I figured out, hey look, when you gotta go through a room to get to a room, it's really only a two-bedroom. I think we could do something over there to square that away, but she can't imagine that right now. Right now, her value just went down. And we didn't even talk about this because this was basically something that, you know, Joe just said, do it, and I'm doing it because I've done it a million times. And I've told George this too. When you're going out on an appointment, you've got to bring those bank comps that are like kind. Because we're going to get them for less expensive than that because the commission I just automatically take off. And those bank deals, usually the utilities aren't on, they're moldy, they're really the scorn of the neighborhood. So this is one of the reasons why I bring those bank comps. Joe doesn't bring as many comps with him. But another key point, I'll say that. Where's the basement?
No, it's a private, so it's only gonna be shared with us.
Alright? Earthquake.
Good for this house.
You like my tile floor?
That's asbestos. Beautiful asbestos.
Now, if you're really feeling it, and you feel like you're beating them down, go for the kill. This can be taken out, or what I do, and Joe does, I call it the half-ass finished basement. I would profess to them that it's got to be taken out, and it has to be disposed of in double-bagged, maximum strength garbage bags.
Was that the asbestos floor?
Yeah.
Not just a hefty.
Yeah, it's got to be the commercial grade. You have to get a special dumpster, and it's probably going to be at least $2,000.
So these are asbestos, I missed that. Okay.
They're 9x9s.
Yep.
You know to get them up. Fill the basement with water.
Okay, now, Tony, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to.
What's that, a garage door opener?
Moisture meter is not working. Make sure this is working.
So you don't take pictures?
At this point, I'm not. Hardwood? Okay, Tony, what I'm gonna do, just to check it out, I'm gonna look and see if you got any moisture. This will go red, and what I'm doing, see, it's catching my fingers. So when this gets red, that means there's moisture. There's 4 modes to this: softwood, hardwood, wall, and masonry. Okay, that's an inside wall. Okay. Now, I'm in hardwood right now. Excuse me. Or no, I'm in softwood. But what I'm going to do, I saw paneling and I said softwood, but I switched it to wall. That's really, really important. Because hey, if it's good, it's good. But if it's not,
Just moisture in here, huh?
yeah, I can smell it's musty. You're really probably used to it because you lived here all this time.
Right.
But almost every house that we rehab, they get a home inspector. And the first thing he's going to do is that, and see how you get lower in the wall? That's when it gets, you know, and unfortunately you have your kids over all the time on top of the fact that they're eating all the paint off the windows.
Right.
It really shouldn't be down here because this mold can have consequences. So,
You're doing that on every wall, cement wall?
yeah.
every-
And if we, well, there is a little cement there. You know, and I'm making a big dramatic play out of this. I'm like, don't rush. This is so important. Just don't rush through it, especially with people that are older. I mean, our whole days are all filled with go, 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 go. You really got to be slowing down and mindful. You are getting into their head right now and teaching them all these things that they probably never knew. Christ, when people bought houses, even when I got into business, mold, nobody cared. All right. Ever had this place looked at for termites, Tony?
No, maybe when we first bought it about 28 years ago.
Really? Okay.
I haven't seen any or heard of any.
Heard them? Oh, well, if you start hearing them.
So you think water's coming through these walls? We did get a French drain.
Well, who did it? Is there a guarantee?
Evangelistic?
That freaking shyster. I would have that with PJ Ward. There is some on the masonry too. And you know, by this time, she's dead in wood. You kind of got it. You know, I'm going to look for my own edification.
Look at this. Some old sport right on here.
It's getting hot too. This isn't there yet. Now, luckily for us, in almost all cases, this water problem is solved with grading, because most houses, if an old person like Tony lives here, the gutters aren't cleaned properly, and it creates a trough within about 2.5, 3 feet of the gutter. And all that water does is just start working its way downward, and this all could be dealt with. And, you know, she may call this a finished basement. I call this, you know, a germ colony. I wouldn't be hanging out down here. You're going to have to explain to her, this does not count as a room. We're going to have to take all this out. And, you know, that's probably going to cost, that might cost about $1,000, I would say. That'd be about it. I guess this was a 2-story.
Alright. Not a bad room. That's where we locked the kids up at.
Joe, what's this made of right here?
This is acoustical ceiling tiles. Just like foam. But if they're painted, they lose all their acoustical properties.
Okay. Acoustical.
It looks like there's mold all over the walls.
Oh, that's paint. It's
paint.
faux.
That's by design.
That's the faux mold. Faux mold.
Yeah, it's hot. Holy cow, what you run, a satellite dish out of here? Holy Jesus.
Yeah, well, my son's an electrician.
Man, what job did he steal this off of? You know what a fire stop is? Not seriously.
No, what is a fire stop?
A fire stop is insulation that has to be put in between, you know, all your joists, especially in balloon construction. It really doesn't apply here, but it'd probably be not a bad idea to have it. This is a gas burner. Has there ever been a oil heater?
And, you know, I'm not sure. We didn't have the house built, but when we bought it, it was gas.
Never will, right?
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
right? You have to change that lock box.
Paul, what happens if there's an oil tank sitting here with a gas meter?
Well, that's no big deal.
Well, we got to take it out though, right? I mean,
Yeah, I've been telling you,
Legally.
I can normally get somebody to do that for free. We say, listen, I can't have this here. Yeah, if we're playing along, you can't have, you know, buyers don't want that. They'll be fearful of a leak.
I did have some turbines down here.
I think they said in New Jersey, if it's an unused tank, it's got to go. If it's converted.
Yeah, that would make sense. This here is, that's a kind of a form of effervescence. That tells you there's moisture here too. I'm not even going to use the meter, but let's go outside and look around real fast. All right,
Paul, what do you have here? Look.
Heater wise?
No.
It's the news.
Rebar coming out?
Oh, jeez. You know what? That looks like electrical. That looks like something old. No,
It's like
that's
the old condenser unit.
Is that
Yeah.
ground?
that. I don't know what that is.
So Paul,
I don't know everything.
one thing too is this is a high efficiency system.
Yep.
So it's got that exhaust that goes right outside.
Yeah.
Now with these old water heaters, what they did was they converted this, but they didn't convert this to high efficiency.
Why they didn't take
So you're
this
going to have backdrafting coming through here.
Mhm.
Toxic gases coming into the house. if it's not lined properly. So chimney work, you could talk about that
Yeah,
too.
you might. Well, yeah, you may need a chimney liner, and a chimney liner is probably going to cost you $800 or $900. Usually costs.
Or high efficiency water heater, $1,600. You know.
Yeah, so these are things that we have to spend money on. All right, let's go outside real quick.
Paul, front of the website, take a look at this. These last wireless.
Oh yeah, Dave pointed that out. That's another point. By now, I got her right where I want her, but these are 2 prong outlets. What's that? Is that an old phone for it? Speaker one. All right, let's walk outside.
That's a sound system.
Now the whole time I'm doing this, it's upstairs. That's not that. The whole time I'm doing this, we're talking, shooting this shit.
Are we all done inside?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go back in.
Okay.
We are gonna go back in.
Alright.
Did we shut the garage door?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, they must have both left at the same time.
God bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Kiss me, Paul. You forget.
Still got me out of it.
Yes.
It's not shut. You selling the house because you're going crazy or what? What? Don't worry about it. Alright, well, we looked at the inside, it's good. Yeah, listen, and now I'm letting her know what's happening. Yeah. Look, I just want to take a look outside. We're going to go back inside. We're going to ask you some questions, and then we're going to come to a mutual decision. Once again, they may have left that safe island, their heads probably spinning around all the things I told them, like, oh my God, what are we doing to our grandkids and every other thing? So what about the insurance? They're probably barely even paying attention anymore. Yeah, you just kind of take a walk around. Hopefully there's a real crappy house next door. And that, let's just imagine that is a shithole. You know what? Get done with this. I gotta resell. You notice this house here? Oh yeah, there's been real scumbags. I realize that's really gonna really hurt.
I was worried about that, yeah.
Yeah, man. What's the chance they're gonna move?
I'm not quite sure if I can talk to him.
You have enough swing to get them? That's pretty impressive. Now, we don't get, personally as rehabbers, I don't really get that concerned about that. In fact, I've actually knocked on people's doors and said, hey, we got a bunch of extra siding here. You want to put it up? Let's put up enough. What are you charging, $50 or something? So they don't know what the real idea is. I've done that.
Well, you want to get nice to them anyway, because you might need their electric or...
Super, well, that's the rehab lesson, but yeah, always be nice to them. Always be nice. Okay. Now, I've already seen these things because I've either been here when she wasn't here, or I'm starting to notice them all now. Hey, Tony, you got wood shakes here.
Yeah, nice, aren't they?
You realize we can't even go over all that? Really? We're gonna have to take that. See how uneven the surface is, and if you have to go right up to it and show them. I can't bang nails into that. That's gonna fall apart. Does everybody know what double four siding is? Okay, double four siding is that. That's double four. 2 clapboards is 1. So if you nail nails and try to put that up, let's just say that is right. This is budget. I want to make that. If that's asbestos, pieces of that are going to fall into those little things on the bottom, and the siding is going to pull away from the house.
They break the bottom out, right?
bottom of the siding.
So you have to get very smart.
Look at that.
You
Pretty
have
neat.
to get you have to get them to know that. They don't probably know that. All right. Hey, looks like you got a 30-year prison on it. Yeah, that's good. Cool. All right, so that's good. You know, you don't want to be all doom and gloom. And if you try to say something negative about that, they're gonna know you're full of shit anyway.
Now, when you're looking at the foundation here and the besides the siding and the
I'm
window.
just drinking it all in. I don't even know what I'm looking at yet until I look at it.
Got you covered.
Another big thing that happens in these scenarios, well, this is almost good enough to use as an example. If a tree from a neighbor is over top of your house, that creates a whole shit show about whether they'll let you do it. It's on your property. So just say, look, that could be a conflict. And this stuff's getting on your house.
I never even noticed that trees at my house.
They probably haven't been to this side of the house in
Yeah.
15, 20 years. That's right, the first time they walked in here since the freaking ring in this tree. All right. Well, now I see where all the leaves are coming from. Hey, Tony, how much do you think it would take to take this tree down?
Oh, it's a beautiful tree. You really think I should take it down?
It's still alive. Might be able to get away with it. But personally, I'm going to write that in as a cost.
So it's over the house, huh?
That's going to be, that's $3-4 grand easy.
Wow. Can you discuss this football? Like how close the grade is to the wood with the termite, wood destroying insects, all that stuff?
Yeah, that would be something I'd bring up. I got so much ammo here. He's dead in the wood. All right, I'll tell you what, Tony, let's go inside.
That's not creepy. Oh, that's trampoline?
Come on, Tony, try to keep up.
No, no, yeah.
Yeah, kitchen table. What's that? What's that guardrail?
Anybody got a contract? You got a contract, right?
Yeah. Wow. I got a blank one too. Oh, check that out.
Yeah, blank one.
See? I just spent some
Your
money.
son's an electrician.
There's another $300. Yeah, I know. I think we could have ran the Empire State Building with that box downstairs. All right. Now, once again, subtle point, but a point nonetheless. Let's imagine I'm at the kitchen table now. Okay, there is no table, and George and I got jammed up with this in Mantua last year. It was so freaking awkward we had to stand there. But you just have to deal with that. You got to roll with it. Don't ever let them get you to sit in the living room. I think we've covered that. We've covered that in the office.
I was on my hands and knees a couple times.
Okay.
Whoa.
Well, I just said my knees. As they're
Trying to
working there.
I want to represent.
He's a closer, man.
Work, man. Do what you gotta do, dude.
Do what you
I don't want to
gotta
go
do.
drinking with him, I'll tell you that. Okay, now, very important. Now, I have a blue pen here, but I always have black pens with me. As near as I can to this size of font, I'm going to write the date, I'm going to write the address, and I'm going to write, I probably won't write the price in, but I'll be at the point where I'll just be able to fill it in really quick at the end. So that way this stuff doesn't stand out so much. But I want to get the contract out, start waving it around. We're making deals today. This is happening. Okay, look, Tony, you know, I'm going to ask you some questions now. Now, once again, this could be done before or after. I'm doing it after, but it has its positives and negatives. When do you want to sell the house?
Actually, since this insurance thing came up, as soon as I can.
Are you No, the house is only in your name, right?
Right.
That would have been a question I'd asked before. Why do you want to sell
It's just sitting here vacant, I'm paying taxes on it, you know, Haddonfield wants you to do this, that, and the other thing, and now you're telling me I got mold, it's gonna keep growing, it's not gonna stop?
it? Now, I know I asked you this on the phone, and I asked you to give me an offer, and what did you say? What do you want for it?
I'd like to get 110.
110. Okay. What are you basing that on? What you think, what you want, what you know?
Yeah, talking to my friends and my family, you know, they're thinking 110 is great for Haddonfield. The land's worth about 100.
Okay. Well, you understand if you like take the house out of here, that's about 10 or 15,000. So land's not really worth it.
Right.
And you gotta get permits.
Right.
Okay. So you just want to sell it because you just want to unload it.
You know, you heard you buy things as is, and they give me the money, and I just go about my way.
We did walk through the house. What major improvements have you made here?
The electrical box.
Okay, I saw that.
So the roof was done about 5 years ago.
Do you get a guarantee on the shingles?
25. Nah, these are 30-year shingles.
And electric box.
2 years old. You can run another house on that.
All right. Anything else?
That's just that's the trampoline, but now with the insurance, I'm afraid
You're having a bad day of insurance.
Yeah.
You're having a real bad day. That's the first question I ask you. What's it going to do to your plans if you don't sell the house in like 6 months?
I haven't really thought about it. I mean, if I list it with a realtor, you know, maybe I'll do that. Now, I already had Darren Solar came in to give me 160 to list it.
160.
Yeah.
Did he tell you can still sell it as is?
Yes, he did. I didn't Google him yet.
I can tell you one thing about realtors. For the most part, they're well, for the most part, they're going to, probably err on the side of caution. And in this day and age, with all these problems that we'll go over in more detail, like let's talk about the basement first. I mean, we're talking a lot of money there. If we got mold, that's got to be eradicated.
Yeah.
That's an FHA thing. You're not going to be able to sell this house FHA with all this paint. And reglazing all these windows, by the time you do that, you might as well just get it.
He didn't mention any of that to me.
But you would agree with that, right?
Oh, I definitely agree with
you.
that. And you brought so much to light, it's unbelievable.
Okay. And once again, with realtors, hey, they may tell you that, and then they're either going to call us if you really want to sell assets, and then you got to pay them and us. Okay, so at 110, I'm going to hit them again. I'm going to hit them again with price. All right, so you think you're going to get an offer around what, 70, 80? Think you might get 80?
I was hoping.
You were hoping.
Yeah. I was hoping for 110, but after they told me about everything, 80 might not sound bad.
Of course, we got commission. Yeah, it's all Christmas time too. What are the taxes here for 6 months?
For 6 months?
Yeah.
43.
And now that your insurance is going to be double, what's 6 months? So that's another 1,000 or 2, right?
Yeah.
Utilities.
Nobody's living here, but they still run me about 150. Gotta keep the heat on.
Well, what's going to do to your plans if it doesn't sell in 6 months? I mean, you just want to keep going on and on like this? Or are you going to get the work done?
Like, I really can't afford to get to work. I don't want to get to work done. I'm done with this house.
Okay. So, he's rolling over pretty good for me. What's it going to take for me to buy this house today?
Give me a price. Tell me what your price is.
Okay, I know I probably got him at 80, right? Sounds like 80's where I can be, but I want to get to 60. Okay, I got my ammunition. I'll start pulling my arrows out. I'm gonna start shooting. First thing I'm gonna do, if I don't think she's convinced, I'm going to go step by step by step, each thing that we talked about. And if anybody was writing all that down, what's that equal out to? Yeah, we're talking 40, 50 grand, right?
Easy.
Oh, yeah. Now here is another key point. Let's just say that, now this is really important. Don't forget I'm saying this. Just remember this, burn it into your head. If I say it, they'll tend to doubt it, but if they say it, they'll more than likely believe it. What do you know, if this house was fixed up, now almost always in their mind, they're not really thinking full market value, which is where the rehabbers are. Let's just say full market is 200. You know, she's still thinking, he's still thinking about this house in the condition it's in, maybe a little bit nicer. This is really important. Well, you know, what do you think it's worth, you know, if it looks good?
It's all fixed up with everything you mentioned in that thing. Maybe we can get 200, 210.
But I mean, we'd have to spend some real money there. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
if
we
I
have to
painted
spend-
it, let's just say I painted it and, you know, cleaned it up a little bit, put some nice landscaping outside. What do you think? I mean, and I'm not doing the kitchen or none of these things. It's just, you know,
120,
130 maybe?
130.
Okay, all right. Now what my real intent is, if I really think it's 210, 200, normally, a normal response would be about 160 or thereabouts. So right away you've made money because their top end, how do we make money as rehabbers? The differential between how much less we can get it and how much more we can make it worth. So there is where the money's made. Now if I say it, they'll tend to doubt it. But if I get him to say 160, if I get him to say that, and I know it's 200 if it looks good, I'm like 90% home now. I'm almost there. All right. So you still want your 80, right?
I like that, yeah, big time.
Like to get 80. All right. Well, I'm going to show you some comparables here, and if I can do it, I'm going to show sold bank comps, and typically they're going to be. Let's just say I can get them at about the 60, right? Let's just say I have a like kind of house at 60,000. All right. Well, and let's just imagine this is an MLS listing, and it's the same house, and it's sold for 60,000. Once again, if I say it, they'll doubt it. But now I'm going to get him on the defensive. I want him to defend why he wants 80, and it's 60.
Wow, I know this house.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, I'm reading. Actually, it looks a little bit better than mine.
So with everything said, you know, and the time it's going to take and everything else, I mean, I'm willing to pay you 60 right now. If we can make a deal today, would you do it?
Can you do 75?
Let's go back and look at these expenses again. Now, that's a good counter. Now you're in decision time, okay? For all you wholesalers out there, if this thing is worth 80, we got a solid 20. 75? Oh, I don't know. Look at all this stuff.
Are my closing costs going to be high?
Tell you what I can do. If you'll agree to this today, and okay the paperwork. I'm not saying sign a contract, I'm saying okay the paperwork. You know what the distinction is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay in the paperwork. It's a casual thing.
Yeah.
Signing a contract, especially an older person, that's frightening. Okay the paperwork. Look, I'll tell you what. I'll give you $62.5 if you agree to this today. And what I want you to do is okay the paperwork, we can get the ball rolling, and get you out of this mess.
$62.5. I want somebody. Can you meet me in the middle? 70. 70. I'm gonna stop looking at you.
I want to eat constantly. Next point, very key point. You are here. You're right here. This is the moment of truth. Don't be the most interested person in making a deal. You've been very thorough. They like you. And they've had another opinion. Now, if you got real guts, start packing up. That's where we're at. I mean, that's where we're at. And then get ready to leave. And then she may say something to you. You may have to go back through the process again. Listen, if your basement wasn't so porous, we'd be at 7. But if I get lucky and get the guy on the right weekend, $7,500 is going to cover that. In most likelihood, it's going to be 10. So I've really given up something else. Look, if you okay this paperwork today, can you imagine being free of this situation?
Mm-hmm. I do want to get rid of it.
Okay, well, let's do it.
65.
Do you really want to sell this house?
Yeah, I'm talking about another $2,500. It'll cover my closing costs.
Is that the best you can do?
I think right now, yeah, really. Just change this right here.
You got to do better than that.
How long is it going to take for you to get this other part signed? The owner's sign it.
Well, we have a due diligence period. We're going to, you're going to authorize us to get a key. We're going to, probably market it to some people from time to time. Maybe a contractor or two comes here. If I'm in the area and I want to take measurements at any one time, we have 15 of these going on. Nobody else is going to say that because they don't. Next thing, and this is another arrow. Look, I want to earmark the funding here. Do we have a deal or not?
62.5, is that what you said?
Yes.
I'll do it for 62.5. I want to talk to him in the other room.
Bring them in here.
Hands in the
I'll do 62.5.
All right.
Thank you.
Questions?
Do you ever touch base on when you're that close to making it? Do you ever go back at them and say, again, holding costs for you right now, utilities, taxes?
3 times
Yes.
close.
Yeah.
You won't ever lose anybody if you close them 3 times.
Right.
Once you get past that, you're looked at as pushy. But you got to close 3 times. If you walk out the first time, you will feel horrible when you see someone else's 30-yard can in front of this house. I've had it happen to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to get better at this. And I split it down to every last nuance. And what I do my best to do is don't just come up with a number of thin air. What do we spend? Better part of an hour here? I've been on appointments there for 3 hours. Now, once again, Joe and I are different. Joe's got a whole different approach. He doesn't even bring comps half the time. To me, if I can show them, it's 10 times more effective than saying it. When we had the old MLS contracts, the old Floyd Wickman thing was get the ball rolling, get your house on the market, very easy vernacular, nothing, you're tied to this, you could get an attorney. Those are things, depending upon the situation, I probably wouldn't even say. And I had a lady get on the phone with her sister right before me last year, and somebody, I bought a house for $38,500, some other guy was paying $50,000. I said, hey, where's he at? I'd go with him. Oh, I can't get him on the phone. I was there. And most people don't like how uncomfortable that is. You've got to, everybody knows what the silent close is, right? Just say the closing words, let's get the ball rolling, let's get your house on the market. If you okay this paperwork today, slide it over, put the pen there, and shut up. Breathe easy. You know you're excited. Who isn't? Because you got big money here, but you gotta be calm. You gotta be calm. You can't start talking again. You'll blow it. You blow the whole thing. You blew all this money, all this preparation, all this expertise is blown in that moment. And it's extremely important, once again, make sure that contract is filled out. I always have 2 copies, especially for the older people, just leave one with them. And
Yeah, might as well fold out before you even get there.
and you just really got to be composed on the inside. 'Cause it's exciting. I don't know anything more exciting. I mean, pitching baseballs in front of a lot of people with a whole team full of college guys yelling at you. You know, once your head.
Pre-filled out. Are you pre-filled out everything
I have
except for the price?
I have everything except for the price. Sometimes, if I even have I might even have the price. It depends. But you don't want to. This is what you don't want to do. You got it, right? Well, let me start filling this out. Then the doubt starts creeping in.
Yeah. What's he writing? Right. So they start saying, what's he writing over there?
It's You're writing out the contract, but you're at the moment of truth. You don't want to give him an option. You don't.
You had him signing it though before you put the price in the contract.
In that scenario, yeah.
The one that
I just didn't want to ruin it.
the one that sold in Browns Mills, I pulled up, I went, you know what, let's see how fast I can do this. I think I did it in 7 minutes. Everything all filled out in my pocket.
Everybody knows what matching and mirroring is. Hey, if you're dealing with the son, he's from Westchester and he wants to get back out. Yo, what's this thing worth, man? You're gonna have that's a tougher nut to crack. And I've had appointments that lasted a couple minutes.
Yeah, we signed it right on the stove. That was that full of shit all over the place.
You know, as we've talked about a million times, make sure both decision makers are there, and then just, you know, don't just jump out of there and fly out of the house either. Just, you know, stay calm and add another question or two.
So if he held tight at 70,
I would have walked out.
you walked out, and then how would you follow up from there?
I'd sit there and figure out what I could do. I've done almost too good a job sometimes. I've gotten down real low, and then perhaps I haven't gotten it. And then, I've lived I've lived through that too, where it's like, oh shit, I could always $5 more grand in there. Damn it, I can't take that pain away from anybody. You know, that's a pain that you got to feel, and then you got to go back in your mind. Okay, could I have done better? And a really good deal is better than no deal. Right now we have no deals, but $5,000. If I was buying this to rehab it, now see, when Joe and I do stuff together, we have to pay a financing cost, and we have a partnership. So we really got to be good. Fortunately for me, when I'm buying it myself, I can go that extra $5 because it's all my money. So I'm
Well, because if you think, if you use the numbers you're using as to gain what you were doing here, you had 200 outsell. You got it 70, 40.
This is
What was this bought for it?
I don't know. I'm just using the numbers Paul was going by. That's all.
Yeah, was this bought for it?
No, that's what I said.
What's that?
What the purchase price
It's
was?
about 230.
I don't know, because I don't worry about the numbers.
Oh, okay.
And
Didn't you say 260 here?
This,
I imagine it's in the two under.
This is not an exact science. Part of the exercise is to get them warmed up to you, get them to realize that this thing is not the crown jewel they think it is. Without question, I point out the faults. And if this guy's a real hard scrabble guy, I'm just going to go through the process again. Look, we went through the house, and it's $49,000. I mean, that's his cost. I said, look, if you do this yourself, okay, great. You're going to take out $49,000 out of your pocket, and then you're going to be dealing with contractors. You ever deal with contractors?
Not really, no.
Well, now, luckily, I have the ability because we got a lot of clout. When I call a guy, he calls me right back. But for you, it's a whole different deal. Yeah, you don't know if they're credited. You don't know if they have insurance. You don't know if they have workman's comp. You don't know any of those things. And I bought rehabs where I'm stepping over brand new carpet where someone half spackled the walls. And there's spackle all over the new carpet because the carpet guy had an opening and it seemed like a good idea. And then they were going to put tarps down, and then these drywall knuckleheads didn't. And next thing you know, you've wasted it all. Ever buy a house with a bad paint job? I had a bad painter one time. I'd be better off if he took a hatchet to the house and just put 72 holes in it. I swear to God, a bad paint job is a freaking nightmare of epic proportions. That's just FYI. I mean, they'd start dripping paint all over here, trying to scrape all. You want to end up in the funny farm real fast? Get a bad paint job. That's really it. It's a dance. It's like a nuanced dance. And if you're matching them and mirroring them, You know, if they're a little louder, get a little louder. If they're a little quieter, get a little quieter. Building rapport. All these things are what I do. They're not in a way. It's what Joe does too, and in a way it's what everybody does. You got to get your own style. You got to figure out what works for you. Does anybody have any questions at all?
I have a question.
Yes.
Just based on what we were talking about at the meeting, just get the contract signed, no matter what